So this is for the front bodice. The shoulder length is 10 inches. 10 divided by 2 is 5 inches. So we're putting 5 here. The next thing to do is to put the shoulder slope of 0.5, arm cycle of 5 inches. I will still put the shoulder length here as well, which is 5 inches. Then I'll rule. The half length I'll be working with is 11 inches. For the neck length, I'll be taking half of the shoulder, which is 2.5. Then I'll connect it to the shoulder slope like so. The next thing to do is to measure the neck width. I'll be putting 2 inches. Now for the arm side, mark half of it and go in by 0.3 inches like so. Chest is 24 divided by 4, that is 6 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance. I'll do the same on the waist. Some kids, their chest is bigger than their waist. Their waist, because of big tummy, is bigger than the chest. So I'll just have to connect with my curve ruler. For the two yoke, I'll be coming down by 5.5. Then I want it a sweetheart. If you want it straight, you can use a straight ruler to just roll it out. Now this is for the back. First of all, I'll mark out the zip allowance, which is 1 inch. From that zip allowance line, I will take 5 inches for shoulder. Go down by 0.3 for slope. Then I'll mark arm cycle 5 inches. Remember, half of the shoulder. Then go down by 0.5. That's for the back neck width. Half length of 11 inches. For this back arm side curve, you can decide to go in by 0.2 inch, just the way we did for the front. You remember the front was 0.3, so you can just do 0.2. But for this tutorial, I will not be going in just the way you've seen. I just curved it like so. So next thing to do is to remove budge from the back by 0.5. Then just connect it back to the line. Now it's time to determine the yoke for the back. I'll mark 6 inches. Then I'll just connect it. If you want it straight, you can do it straight, but I want it curved like this. After cutting it, we'll create a new neckline. Now I've cut on the two and I've added 0.5 each all around except for the front. I folded it there. Now I cut 2 for each. So this is what it looks like. Just place like this. Go to the machine, sew on 0.5, 0.5, and do same with this one. This is for the front. Place them together like this. Then on your machine, sew on 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So this is it. After sewing, you cut out the excess, turn it. This is for the back. So turn it and iron. You turn it and iron it down. This fabric is on fold. Now I'll place the front side like this, and I'll add 0.5 inch for sewing allowance. Remember, I didn't add it on the paper. I'll add it right now, then add 0.5 inch up of it like this. If you're not sure of eyeballing, you can measure with your tape. Now after cutting, I'll cut 2 of these. Sorry, there was break in transmission and I was not able to record the second cutting. So this is it. It's 2 here, and I've ironed the tool as well. So next thing to do is to place it front to front. Make sure the sweetheart is touching the other sweethearts. So on the machine, so on 0.5 inch like this. Do the same on this other side. So this is for the back, and I cut out 2 as well because one will serve as lining and the other one will serve as the main fabric. So now this is for the back, and I'll just place the 2 like this. Remember, we'll have 1 inch zip allowance, so I'm just going to shift it out from there. Then on the machine, I'll sew on 0.5 inch. I'll also do the same for the second one. Now this is what it looks like after sewing. You can notch if you want. So right now it's time to add the lining on it. You place the 2 fronts facing front. Then on the machine, you're just going to sew just after the line, after this sewing line, just after it, like 0.1 inch after the line you just sew. Now this is for the front. I'm placing the lining on the main fabric and still do the same. You sew on top of it. This is it after sewing, and I am notching it. Then make sure you iron them all. The length of this net is 10 yards before pleating it. So it was so long I had to fold into 4 pleats. Now the length of the gown minus the 11 inches, that is what you will measure here. For the ruffles at the front is 4 inches in width. I've already gathered just at the center. Now next thing to do now is to sew it to the front side. Then I'll mark 1 inch out, that is our sewing allowance. Mark out the 1 inch. Then you have to sew on this curve like this. I'm just trying to make it so light so it won't really show on the dress. You can decide to add more, but we'll start with these 3 lines. So on the machine, you sew it this way, turn it like this. Once you get to the 1 inch line, you stop. And remember, you're not going to sew on the lining, you're going to flip it like this. So this is what it looks like after sewing. Now this is how I folded this. Fold it like this. Is a half circle, then fold it this way. Okay, this is how I folded this. Look at it. So remember, we'll mark 6 inches as our waist, then 1 inch for zip allowance. I'm trying to get the radius. You know, it shouldn't be straight, it should be curved. So I'm marking with the radius I got from the initial mark, the first mark. Then I'll connect. Now it's time to determine the length you're working with. I want to add a belt to the dress. The length of the belt is 21 inches. Remember, they're supposed to be double because you're going to sew and fold. So I'll be marking 2 inches for both sides. Just trying to give a design instead of making it straight. On the machine, sew all round and turn over. Now it's time to join the front bodice to the back bodice. Join the shoulders as well. Watch carefully. I'm going to mark 1 inch for sewing allowance. So we place the two like this, seam to seam line, front to front. Now marking the 1 inch. The 1 inch you added as sewing allowance. Now sew on it, after which you then join the shoulders. I have to lose here and here for the belt. I've done that. Now it's time to place the belt like this. Make sure you leave 0.5 inch for sewing. This 0.5 inch, remember. So we have excess net, so we'll have to still trim it off if it's remaining. Obviously it will remain. Then the next thing to do is just to bring these two together, then place the fabric on it like this. Place them, the two facing the main fabric like this. You can pin down. you have to continue that way. You have to continue that way till when you get to the end, or you keep adjusting as you're sewing. Now once you're done, go to the machine and sew on 0.5. This is what it looks like after sewing. Now this is the lining part, so we're just going to cut the lining just the way we cut for the main fabric. So this is it after cutting it. Now it's time to place our hard net. I'll be marking 1 inch round it. So this line I'm initiating here is for the strong hard net. Now I'll give space again, 2 inches. Then remember, we'll have a zip allowance. It's actually 1 inch, but I'm marking 1.5 so that the hard net will be so far. I'm just going to pleat the hard net like this, and I'll sew on the line. As you're pleating, make sure that the main fabric is straightened under. Pleat till you get to the last. This is it. This is the first pleat, and I'll pleat the second one as well under it. Don't forget to hem it. Now it's time to join it to the fabric. Front side facing front side. Front side facing front side. Then you sew on 0.5 inch. This is what it should look like after sewing. Now next thing to do now is to join the main fabric and add the zip. So just going to bring this part and this part together. Make sure the seam lines align. Bring them together like so. You can pin down if you want. Now to determine the length of the zip, I'll be marking 11 inches, then sew all the way. So I've already placed the zip on 1 inch. So the other side, you have to flip it all over to the back. Now remember, we are sewing on 1 inch. Cutting out the net excess. You I'm just going to place the lines. Don't forget, make sure they align. Place the sewing the seam line on it like this, and pin down. Open up the zip. Bring the line and the make fabric together and sew. You have to continue sewing for a neat finishing. So remember, you're sewing after the line. You repeat the same procedure. So this is what it looks like. Isn't it beautiful? Now I want to add an applique to it. This is the applique and I'll be gumming it down like this. So I'll be using uhu gum. I'll do it for both sides.